Namaste. As you all know, whatever we do in this YouTube channel and at Adhvaitha Conscious Society is based on two things. Number one, it is consciousness, which is the essence of Vedanta. And number two is conscious creation. It's about making the wisdom of consciousness accessible to the modern world so that we can use this framework practically in our life to move towards our ideal life of true fulfillment and holistic abundance. And many people keep asking us, what exactly is conscious creation? How is it different from all the principles and frameworks and concepts that are out there, like law of attraction, manifestation, and so on? So, we are creating this important video series, and this is the first video in the series, which will be an introduction to conscious creation. Here, we will look at what conscious creation is very, very deeply, and we will also understand how we can make use of this wisdom to see some practical results in our life. And based on conscious creation, we will create more videos in this series so that you can get the complete hang of conscious creation and so that we can take the wisdom of conscious creation to the world. So let's begin with the basics. Advaita Vedanta speaks of one thing, that is consciousness. So Advaita Vedanta, which is the ancient wisdom of the Upanishads, talks about consciousness. Now, different words and different terminologies are used to describe this consciousness. The Upanishads call it Brahman, Satchitananda, infinite potential, infinite intelligence, etc. But for now, let's stick with consciousness. The Upanishads explains consciousness as the fundamental essence of reality. And the Upanishads also go on to say that this consciousness is our Swarupa. It is our true nature. Swarupa is nothing but our true nature. So this consciousness is the essence of reality, and it is in fact the reality itself. The entire universe, whatever we are seeing all around us, including we ourselves, including we as the body and mind, are appearances in consciousness. Fundamentally, it is all consciousness. And the nature of this consciousness is that it is infinite, right? This is infinite. That is why it is relevant for us. This is the infinite nature of who we are. What we are discussing here is about our own essential nature. So, this Swarupa, which is the infinite nature, has temporarily identified with this limited identity that we can call Swabhava. Right now, we are limited. We do not experience this infinity that Vedanta speaks of. So, what has happened is this Swarupa, our true nature, has temporarily identified with our Swabhava. Swabhava is nothing but our core identity. This is not in essence who we are, but this is who we have become temporarily. Because of our identification with the body and mind, we have become an identity due to ignorance, due to past karma. Of course, we will come to all that later on. But right now, we are this identity. And this identity also gives rise to a bhava. Bhava is nothing but a state of being. State of being is your mental state and emotional state put together. So, our true nature is the infinite consciousness. It has identified itself with the Swabhava or the core identity, which in turn gives rise to a bhava or the state of being. And not only that, because of our Swabhava and because of our bhava, we perform different actions in this world, right? We do different activities, which is basically karma, the karma that we do continuously. And this in turn gives rise to certain results in our life. This results is what our current life is. Whatever your life is in terms of your health, wealth, relationships, your inner peace, whatever it is. So that is the results here. This comes from your actions, which is influenced by your state of being, that is bhava, and your swabhava, which is your core identity, but all of this is being powered by our Swarupa, which is the infinite consciousness. This is like the source of creation. This is the source of everything. From this, everything else is empowered and everything else is manifested. So, whatever results that we are experiencing, right, in terms of the four areas that we focus on at ACS, which is wealth, health, relationships, and inner peace. And within inner peace, there is your purpose and there is your spiritual grounding. So, all these areas of our life, which are the results basically, everything comes from our identity, our core Swabhava. Now, what most of modern manifestation teachings, personal development teachings, and even some of the most sophisticated explorations of reality, like reality transurfing, what they do is they only focus either up to this level, up to the level of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, etc., or some very rare philosophies come to the level of identity. But as far as I have explored, no philosophy comes to the level of Swarupa, the infinite potential. This is the gift to humanity by the ancient Upanishads, by Adhvaitha Vedanta. So, it is very important for us to understand this, because what happens for most of us is that our Swabhava creates a certain kind of life, like we understood. Our Swabhava itself is influenced by many things, right? Many things contribute to our Swabhava. These things can be your past karma. Vedanta says we have lived this life many times in different bodies. So, our past karma has given rise to our present Swabhava. Not just this, our societal conditioning, and then our parental conditioning, and so on. A lot of influences happen on our Swabhava based on which we are who we are today. So, it is very important for us to understand that we are not our identity. We are not who we think we are right now. Who we think we are right now is like a mask that we are wearing. Inside that, beneath that, we are the infinite potential. We have the potential to change the mask. This profound wisdom is missing in the modern world, and it is missing in the modern frameworks. And Vedanta itself doesn't actually focus on working on our Swabhava and changing our reality, because Vedanta focuses on transcendental wisdom and it focuses on achieving liberation. Basically, Vedanta says no matter what we do at this level, at the level of Swabhava, we can work, we can change our results, we can do whatever, but ultimately it will not give us absolute fulfillment, because this world is a world of Maya. It is a relative, temporary experience. It's a temporary projection or a simulation. Once we essentially understand who we are as that infinite consciousness, then we can experience true fulfillment, says Vedanta. But our focus in Advaita Conscious Society is to help professionals, entrepreneurs, and seekers understand this, understand the framework of reality, and work on their core identity or Swabhava. By working on one's identity, we can not only evolve spiritually towards that ultimate goal, but at the same time, we can fix our life, whatever our ideal life is, right? In terms of the wealth, health, relationships, and inner peace can be achieved if we understand the infinite nature of who we are and work on the mask that is the Swabhava, the core identity. And another very important missing piece in this framework is our Swadharma. Our Swadharma is our purpose. So we covered Swarupa, which is the infinite consciousness. We covered Swabhava, which is our core identity. We covered Bhava, which is the state of being. We also covered how these things gives rise to our actions or karma and then our results. But now let's discuss Swadharma, or our purpose. Now, our purpose is what is missing for most of us. For most of us, we are unaware of our true nature. We are unaware of our identity. We don't even know that there is something called as identity that we can change. We are unconscious of it. So this is an unconscious entity, because of which we have an unconscious bhava. Our state of being for most of us varies, right? Sometimes we are happy, mostly we are stressful and we are sad. Because of our state of being, our actions are influenced. Because of our actions, our results and our life is influenced, and we live a certain kind of life. Once we discover our purpose, our Swadharma, which comes here in the middle. So here, when we understand our identity, what is our strength, what is our weakness, what is our core nature, what are our core tendencies, when we are clear on that, and when we identify a purpose in alignment with that, when the Swadharma and Swabhava is in alignment, then our bhava transforms. Our state of being is transformed. We evolve into the higher states in consciousness like joy, fulfillment, peace, and so on. Once the bhava is transformed and once the purpose is clear, then naturally our ideal life, right, whatever it is, manifests. So our ideal life is connected to our Swadharma or our purpose. This doesn't mean each and every one of us should have a profound purpose, of being a multi-billion dollar entrepreneur or something like that. But we need to understand who we are in essence, and we must bring whatever we are doing in this world, our activity, in alignment with our Swabhava. So this gives us a brief overview of what conscious creation is. Conscious creation is a very, very deep framework that we have worked on for years and years together. But this is just one part of it. This is part 1. With this, let's come to the part 2 of today's video, where we will discuss the power of alignment when it comes to conscious creation. Here we need to understand the different aspects of our being. We might think that we are one entity, we are one person, but we are actually not. Vedanta gives us strong frameworks to understand different parts of our being and different aspects of our being. For this, we will use one framework that Vedanta calls the Panchakosha Viveka. And through this, we will understand how we are actually different parts, different things coming together as one individual person. As per this framework of Panchakosha Viveka, there is the Annamaya Kosha, there is the Pranamaya Kosha, there is the Manomaya Kosha, there is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, there is the Anandamaya Kosha, and then there is our infinite nature as consciousness. So there are different aspects to our existence which goes on expanding until it is the infinite consciousness, which is our Swarupa that we had discussed earlier. Now, this is just a visual representation. I'm just roughly showing you the idea of how we can think of alignment here. Now, the Annamaya Kosha is the first sheath. It is nothing but the physical body. So, our body is Annamaya Kosha. It is the food sheath. Then the Manomaya Kosha is the mind. Our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, all these things lie at the level of the mind. Then comes the Pranamaya Kosha, where the prana lies. Now, in some explanations, Pranamaya Kosha comes first and Manomaya Kosha comes later, but it's fine for today's explanation. And next comes the Vijnanamaya Kosha or the intellect. And next comes the Anandamaya Kosha or bliss sheath. Then it is our infinite nature, which we will keep it aside for now. So, what happens is, whenever we have an idea of our ideal life, right, whatever our goal is in our life, we think that that goal is very clear to us and we are clear in pursuing it. But what happens is, our body might agree to it, but our mind might not agree. And if mind agrees, body might not agree. And if both of them agree, the deeper aspects of our being, like the prana, the intellect, each of them has their own identity, has their own tendencies. When we are not evolved, when we seek manifestation before spiritual evolution, that is when we might begin to create a lot of destructive things in this world. So the first thing we must seek is evolution and alignment before anything else. So let's understand this through an example. Let's say your goal is to reduce 10 kgs of weight and basically be a healthier version and a more fitter version of yourself. This is the goal that you set at the level of the mind, right? The mind sets this goal to be healthy and fit. But when the time comes to quit eating the junk food and exercising and waking up early, the body might not agree. The momentum and the lethargy that the body has might not agree to the mind. That is why most of these programs and most of these diets fail, because what mind agrees, the body doesn't agree. And even the deeper aspects of us might not agree. It is very important for us to first of all understand how everything is structured within us, and then come up with a holistic goal for our life, which is in alignment with all the deeper aspects of us. Because the deeper we go, the more evolved we are. The deeper levels of our being have better understanding of what is good for us in our life and what actually can be your ideal life. Your mind right now might be totally unaware of what your ideal life can be, what your true potential actually is. But the higher dimensions of you will have a higher perspective. So we seek evolution before manifestation when we follow the process of conscious creation. And we basically become very clear on what our goal is, what our ideal life is. This is different for each and every one of us. For some, it might be simply sacrificing everything, giving up everything, and becoming a monk. But for someone else, it can be starting a business which they are deeply passionate about and with which they can influence millions of people across the world. It can be very different for each and every one of us. So, again, we must come back even to identify what our ideal life is, right? To identify this also, we need to come back to whatever we discussed in part 1. We must come back to our Swabhava, our core identity. So, what is our nature? When we discover this, we discover our purpose, and our purpose takes us to our ideal life. So, once the ideal life is clear, then our next goal is to bring each of the different dimensions of our existence, the body, the mind, the prana, the intellect, and the deeper aspects of our being in coherence with that, in alignment with that. When each of these different dimensions align in one direction, and when that infinite potential, that infinite source, that consciousness clearly channels through these different aspects of us, then we can easily and effortlessly manifest our ideal life without any resistance, without any friction. So that is when we get our goal, our ideal life. But what happens, right? We have different parts of our being that, like we discussed. Let's see what happens if they are not in alignment with each other. When they are not in alignment with each other, let's say you are moving towards a goal, right? Whatever it is for you, whatever your ideal life is, let's say you wish to move towards it. But for the energy and for the source to flow clearly, there needs to be alignment across each of these dimensions. Let's say at the level of intellect, something is missing and that alignment is not there. Or let's say intellect, which is basically the realist aspect of us, and the critique, which thinks about everything from the lens of whether it is right or wrong, whether it is achievable or not, right? That is the job of the intellect. It helps us survive. And let's say the intellect is not in alignment with your ideal life, then the energy doesn't flow freely. It gets stuck here. So when it gets stuck, obviously, whatever it is that we wish to achieve in terms of our ideal life, we will not get to it. So what we discussed today is, first of all, the overview of what conscious creation is, how our Swabhava, our Swadharma, and our Bhava gives rise to our current reality in terms of health, wealth, relationships, and inner peace. And we discussed how it is very important to bring different aspects of our being in alignment to achieve our ideal life, whatever it is. And if you are actually interested in conscious creation, if you wish to implement this process in your life, then check out this free training on conscious creation that we have created and book a call with our team to see how it can help you in your life and take you to your ideal life in a matter of years instead of decades. Subscribe to Adhvaitha to wake up. Shivoham.